Let's talk Falcons. The clock is ticking, and big decisions are coming up. The Atlanta Falcons have some tough choices ahead, and many fans are feeling uneasy. After some questionable decisions last season, it's no wonder people are worried. But what do you think? Will the Falcons make smart moves, or will it be another mistake? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us keep bringing you the latest Falcons news, rumors, and updates every day. You don't want to miss anything, especially with the offseason heating up. Now let's dive in. There's a lot to talk about. We're less than 2 weeks away from a huge decision for the Falcons, and we can't forget that Kirk Cousins' $10 million roster bonus kicks in on March 17th. That's when things are really going to start moving. As of now, Cousins is guaranteed $27.5 million for 2025, but if he stays on the roster past March 17th, that number jumps to $37.5 million. The big question: will the Falcons make a move before then, or will they keep Cousins as a backup at that high price? At the NFL Combine, Falcons GM Terry Fontenot was asked about the situation, and his answer was the same as before. Nothing has changed with Cousins. Atlanta is sticking to its plan. But how long can they hold out? ESPN insider Adam Schefter just dropped some big news. While the Falcons are standing firm for now, that could change at any moment. Let's face it, Cousins doesn't want to sit on the bench, especially not for that kind of money. Schefter said the Falcons won't let him go easily. We'll see if they stick to that plan as the days go by. Cousins obviously wants a chance to play, but by the time the Falcons make a move, if they even do, the quarterback market might be empty, and other teams might already have their players. That's the big risk here. If the Falcons wait too long, finding a trade partner could become even harder. Let's not forget how we got here. The Falcons signed Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million contract just last offseason, expecting him to be their future quarterback. But things didn't go as planned. In 14 starts, Cousins completed 66.9% of his passes for 3,508 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. Not terrible, but not great either. Things didn't go as planned for Cousins. In 14 starts, Kirk Cousins completed 66.9% of his passes for 3,508 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. Those stats aren't terrible, but it was the final stretch of the season that really hurt. In his last 5 starts, Cousins threw just 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions, while the Falcons went 1-4. This slump came after he suffered injuries to his right elbow and shoulder during a Week 10 loss to the Saints. From that point on, things spiraled. By the end of the year, Michael Penix Jr. had taken over as the starting quarterback. Falcons general manager Terry Fontenot made it clear that the team is okay with keeping Cousins as a backup. But does that really make sense? The contract was originally signed with the idea that Cousins would be the starter. But even now, with that huge cap hit, the Falcons are still comfortable with the situation. Comfortable might not be the best word, though, especially with a $10 million decision looming. If the Falcons truly believe in Penix, wouldn't it make sense to free up that money and use it elsewhere? Now let's shift focus for a moment because there's another huge story developing: the potential departure of center Drew Dalman. ESPN's Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler report that the Falcons are preparing to lose Dalman in free agency. Atlanta wants to keep him, but there's a strong chance he'll get a much bigger deal elsewhere. Dalman, a 4th-round pick in 2021, has quietly become one of the top centers in the league, especially in the run game. Despite missing some time due to injury, he was ranked as one of the best centers in the NFL for 2024, with a 78.8 overall grade, good enough for 4th out of 64 eligible centers. His run-blocking grade ranked 5th, and even though his pass blocking wasn't as elite, he was still a key part of this offensive line. Here's the big news: Dalman is expected to reset the center market. The highest-paid center in the league right now is Kansas City's Creed Humphrey, earning $18 million per year. While Dalman might not top that, he's expected to come close, which could price him out of Atlanta's range. With the Falcons already $5 million over the cap, they don't have a lot of room unless Dalman is willing to take less money to stay. It's looking more and more likely that Dalman will be playing elsewhere in 2025. So, where do the Falcons stand? The team has some big decisions to make in the coming weeks. Will they part ways with Cousins before that $10 million roster bonus kicks in? If they do, where will he end up? Or will they shock everyone and keep him as the league's highest-paid backup? And can they find a way to keep Dalman? Or is it time to prepare for a new starting center in 2025? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What should the Falcons do with Cousins? Should they try to keep Dalman, or is it time to move on? And don't forget, Jesse Bates III is locked in through 2027. Jesse Bates III is locked in, but who will join him in the secondary next season? That's the big question for the Falcons. Justin Simmons and Richie Grant are both set to hit free agency, and DeMarco Hellams is still recovering from a tough ankle injury that kept him out last year. With those gaps in the secondary, the Falcons will need to find replacements, and free agency could offer some solid options. Let's take a look at 5 safeties the Falcons might target when the market opens, and trust me, there are some names here that will get Falcons fans talking. First up, Jordan Fuller. He's 27 years old and played last season with the Carolina Panthers. Fuller has dealt with his fair share of injuries: shoulder, ankle, hamstring. But when he's healthy, he's shown he can be a solid player. Last season, he signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Panthers, so the Falcons could likely bring him in on a similar deal. Plus, he has a connection with Falcons head coach Raheem Morris from their time together in Los Angeles, which could be a big factor if the Falcons are looking for a budget-friendly option. Next is Jeremy Chinn. This one's interesting. Chinn just had a career year with the Washington Commanders, starting all 17 games, racking up 117 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. Last offseason, his market wasn't super high because he was coming off an injury, but he bet on himself, signed a 1-year deal with Washington, and made the most of it. He's versatile, physical, and could be a great fit next to Bates. Chinn also has ties to Falcons defensive coordinator Dan Quinn and defensive backs coach Joe Witt Jr., so while he might stay in Washington, the Falcons could make a move if he hits the open market. Now, let's talk about the possibility of bringing back Justin Simmons. He didn't make a ton of big plays last year, but he's still a Pro Bowl-level safety with tons of experience. Simmons knows the system, is well respected in the locker room, and if the Falcons are looking for stability rather than a complete overhaul, keeping him for another year might be a good idea. The question is whether his market will drive his price higher than what Atlanta is willing to pay. Finally, keep an eye on Ashtyn Davis from the New York Jets. While Davis isn't a big-name free agent, he has something that could work in his favor: his connection to Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. They spent the last 4 seasons together in New York, and Ulbrich knows exactly what Davis can bring to the table. He's mostly played as a rotational player and contributed on special teams, so he might not be a full-time starter in Atlanta. However, if the Falcons are looking for depth, Davis could be a reliable and budget-friendly choice. Now let's talk about Chuck Clark, another safety from the Jets. Clark earned the starting position in New York last season, but injuries have been a big issue for him. He missed all of 2023 due to a torn ACL and faced another setback with a patellar injury this past season. If he can recover fully, he brings a wealth of experience and a sharp football mind. But that's a big if. The Falcons would need to keep a close eye on his recovery before making any decisions. So what does this mean for Atlanta? The Falcons have several options, but the challenge will be finding the right balance between experience, durability, and cost. Should they pursue a proven veteran like Simmons, take a chance on a player with potential like Chan, or go for a budget-friendly option like Davis or Clark? It all depends on the direction the front office wants to take with the defense moving forward. Now it's your turn, Falcons fans. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Which safety would you like to see in Atlanta next season? Should the Falcons re-sign Simmons, take a risk on an injured player, or go for a rising star? We want to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all the latest Falcons news. Go Falcons!